Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we are going through the entire Crown Jewel 2023 card. Crown Jewel is tonight. We're going to go through my entire predictions for all the card, all the matches, what's going to happen, who's going to leave as champions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Now let's get into it. We'll start with the kickoff match, Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. I'm going to go for Sami Zayn here. I feel like Zayn, his stock is very high right now after that very real and emotional promo on Raw this past Monday night. And, obviously if you've seen it, you know what he's like. So, Sami, we're here, brother. I think Sami Zayn, I think this feud is coming to an end with Judgment Day, probably at War Games. And it needs to, because I've enjoyed the feud, but it is just the same thing every week. Like, you know where it's going. So we're going to go for Sami Zayn. Moving on to John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, this is a difficult one because do you have Cena win his first pay-per-view match in 5 years, or do you have Sikoa beat Cena, the established guy, and put the young up-and-comer on the map? It's a really tricky one, but I'm actually going to take Cena here because I feel like they've made a story out of the fact that Cena is, he can't win on pay-per-view, so I feel like they're going to embrace that. He's going to, find it in himself to win. This should be a really good match, by the way, so I think Cena versus Sikoa is going to be great. Cannot wait to watch this, and it's going to be great for Sikoa because if Cena struggles to do it, it only puts more on him. There's no shame in Sikoa losing to Cena like he did with Cody, like he did with LA Knight, because they're at the main event scene. He isn't. So I'm going to take John Cena for this. Moving on to Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest, I'm going to take Cody Rhodes here. I feel like, Cody's not really been beaten unless it's a monumental circumstance, like him losing the tag titles, him losing at Mania, him losing to Brock. I don't think this is one of them. I think Rhodes it's going to be a really good match, but I think Rhodes is going to walk through him and give it a good 15 minutes, and Rhodes will get the victory. Moving on to Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul for the US title. I am going to say that Logan Paul wins this. I did do a video on this a few weeks ago that, Logan Paul as champion would be controversy creating cash. He's a fabulous heel. People hate him, but people also appreciate just how good he is in the ring. He's really earned it. And I feel like you got to go for Logan now. I think this is his time. If he can show up every week, say he's there 3 out of 4 SmackDowns a month, I think that's more than good enough for him to have, one off so he can focus on his other stuff, because he's not a full-time. He's not going to appear every week. But that doesn't mean he shouldn't get a title when he's earned it. Ray's not really done much with it, but what could he? Because he's just been feuding with, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and they're new and up-and-coming, so it doesn't really help the fact that he's champion. So I feel like we're going to see this get taken off Logan, or get taken off Ray onto Logan. Logan will hold it probably until Mania, and then lose it to someone else. So Logan Paul to get the win. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair now for the Women's World Championship. I'm going to take Io Sky. Bianca Belair has just come back. She's just came off the back of a over year-long title reign, and then she won it again at SummerSlam just to lose it. So I don't see why she would just win it back again. I feel like we need to make... as great as Bianca Belair is, I feel like she needs to stay away from the title picture, a bit like Charlotte now, for a good year or two, because she had it for so long. We can't make another Charlotte out of her, because Charlotte's great in the ring, but the reason we all dislike her is because she gets the opportunity she hasn't earned. So that's the main issue. If we start doing that with Bianca, what are we going to be left with? We may as well just do Bianca versus Charlotte, lead that up to Mania, have them in a singles match, big marquee match, not for a title, and let Io win. And the reason I think Io is going to win, Damage Control has been banned from ringside. I feel like we're going to see someone get involved, and that leads to the return of Kairi Sane. It has been rumoured for weeks now that Sane is back on the internal roster, and they're just waiting for the time to bring her back. I feel like we're going to get one return, and it's only going to be one of 3. I feel like it's going to be Kairi Sane. So, Io Sky to retain. Moving on to the Fatal 5-Way for the Women's World title. You have got the defending champion Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. For me, this is the easiest one on the card. Rhea Ripley retains. I feel like where they're going with this, Ripley's going to hold it until Mania, and we're either going to see Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the title or Ripley versus Liv Morgan. They're the two that make sense. You know, Becky, after losing the NXT Women's title, had an interview on Raw and she said she defended it more times than Ripley, so that's just a little dig. And we've had the stare downs in the past. It seems like people really want to see this. I'm one. And I feel like they're just waiting to choose between, does Becky, you know, maybe get her chance at the Chamber to go to Mania, or does Liv win the Rumble? I feel like it's going to be one or two. I feel like they're going to go with Ripley here. I feel like this is such an obvious pick. She's not going to lose it. She's barely even defended it, but she's a star, so she's going to keep it. Moving on to Rollins versus McIntyre. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is going to be a great match. I remember that match in Money in the Bank 2020. That was brilliant. And I feel like it's going to be very similar. This will be a great match. I feel like Drew will return with broken dreams. And as much as I love Seth Rollins, I think this is it. I said this at Payback to Nakamura, but obviously for very different circumstances. I feel like Drew McIntyre is going to win this because I feel like this is where we're going to get the McIntyre heel turn to win. I think he's going to come out with broken dreams, and I think at some point he's going to do something slightly heinous, but he's going to try and, you know, cover it up on Raw, and we're not going to get the full heel turn yet for another while. And I feel like Seth will move on to different things at Mania. I wonder what that could be. And then moving into the main event, Roman Reigns defends his championship against LA Knight. This is a really tricky one because LA Knight is incredibly popular with the fans. So is it time to, you know, call an audible and just switch it straight to LA Knight? I don't know, because I feel like with this Roman whole story thing, I know we said this at Mania 39. I feel like we are coming to the end of it now because he's starting to defend it less and less. So how much longer are they going to tolerate that? Because for me, it's an absolute disgrace that he defended it once, or he didn't even defend it from Mania to SummerSlam. Like, that's 4 months. That's a third of the year where the main champion didn't even defend his title. And then after SummerSlam, he goes away again until, you know, November. So I don't understand it. I think it is just he needs to lose it at some point. That has to be Mania now. And if he doesn't, there's going to be serious issues here, because I understand that they're going to try and get him to beat Hogan's record if he retains at Mania. But there is no benefit to that because, you know, he hasn't defended the title. He's defended the title about 4 times this year, and we're in October, or November, sorry. Like, it's averaging 1 defence every 3 months. It's ridiculous. But I do believe that Roman's going to retain here because I feel like we are going to Roman versus Cody 2 at Mania. I think Cody has to win that there. And as much as I'd love LA Knight to win, I feel like this isn't going to be clean. None of Roman's wins ever are. But I feel like LA Knight is not going to get the victory here because of circumstances that prevent him to it. But I do feel like he's going to have a big marquee match at Mania with someone on the card for a title. But those are just my predictions. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you enjoy Crown Jewel tonight wherever you are watching from. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.